I think of myself dancing and someone who would love to have been a professional dancer, but where sometimes you have to make a choice, you know.
Mais Carol Jameson est physicienne. En 1987, elle rejoint le programme spatial américain et embarque sur la mission de la navette STS-47.
I thought that the space program was terribly unfair. I used to get really irritated when I was a little girl. It pissed me off. Okay, and the reason why is because I would look and I would say, okay, there are only white males going up into space in the United States. And so if they ran into any aliens, remember I'm 8 or 9 years old, they're gonna think that this is what all humans are like. And I just thought that that was grossly unfair as a little girl. And I thought, oh, that can't stand, and no one could explain to me why women shouldn't be involved. Well, the Russians had a woman, Valentina Terechkova. She went up into space, and I remember that very, very vividly, and I thought it was really cool, so nobody could ever say anything to me. And the women that we've heard about, you know, in the Mercury 13, or those women who did better than the guys did on all the physiological tests and psychological tests back in the 1960s, but who were still not allowed in the astronaut program because the country had made a decision that we're not going to have women involved. You know, that's something, the hurdle that you can't get rid of, and that's something society has to work on. You know, growing up in the United States, you know, growing up in this world, it is impossible to escape interactions that are colored negatively by race and by gender. I didn't recognize at all what happened when I went into space, and this may sound kind of foolish, but the notoriety that came with being the first African-American woman in space, or actually the first woman of color in the world to go into space. The notoriety that came with that gave me a platform perhaps to talk about other issues.
Lieutenant Uhura, signal red alert.
Aye, sir. Red alert. All decks go to red alert.
Security control.
Mr. Spock, I'm receiving a visual signal.
Transfer to main viewer.
Aye, sir.
Shall I lock in remaining phaser power, sir?
Negative. Lieutenant Uhura, can you open a channel to the approaching vessel?
They're refusing reception, sir. I can't break...
Distance, Mr. Sulu.
Just beyond phaser range, sir.
What is that?
Lieutenant.
I'm sorry, sir. I touched the tape button accidentally. I'll take it off.
That's no malfunction.
No, sir.
What was neat about Star Trek is it was really an exploration of really current events in the 60s, but they took place in a safe location, right? They took place in space. It had a crew on it that included all different kinds of people from around the world, which was really very, very radical for the 60s. So we, you know, it had Africans, it had, you know, Americans, it had Russians, it had Chinese in it. And it had the first time you had women in a technical position. So Nichelle Nichols, who played Lieutenant Uhura, that was the first time you had a woman in a technical position on a program that came on every night. So it started to change some of those public figures, some of those public images of who we are and the possible. In 1976 or so, when we were starting, when the NASA was going to change over and start having the shuttle fleet, and made a commitment to making sure they brought in women, and they opened the program up to women, and they also were going to make a commitment to having African Americans and Asian and Hispanic and minority astronauts. They couldn't get anybody to apply because nobody believed them. So Nichelle got in contact with, said that she would help to recruit because she had that credibility. So she did it without cost to NASA, they didn't pay her, just, expenses to go around the country and recruit. And she said that I will make sure that I bring you 100 qualified applications from women and minorities. So she was instrumental in making sure that applications came in. And so that NASA couldn't say, well, we don't have qualified women applicants. We don't have qualified minority applicants. I knew that. I was too young, actually, to apply at the time that Nichelle was doing that. But I knew that she had done it.